Kayleigh, are you there? Please unmute yourself, and please, if you are not speaking, kindly mute yourself.
Hey, how are you doing? I hope everyone's all right. I feel really, really awkward following Dave. That was absolutely incredible. That was so motivating, honestly, especially that I'm going to do something so bleak afterwards. But thank you, honestly, that was incredible. Okay, my name's Kayleigh. Like I've just said, I'm just a psychology student, if anything. But yeah, I just want to contribute something from a psychological point of view with respect to the psychological damage shame and ignoring boys can do, sort of in the same vein as what Dave said with respect to apathy and why we shouldn't do it. I did prepare a PowerPoint, but it abandoned me, so I'm doing this from my notes, so please bear with me. So shame is conceptualized as an assault on the self, wherein an individual self-concept, internal locus of control and social connectedness are attacked. Shaming is a form of emotional abuse. We shouldn't ever minimize that. It really is bad. It's detrimental. Its forms and prevalence are vast. Shaming may be communicated verbally and non-verbally. This may include punishment and punitivity, including humiliation, belittlement, laughing at their expense, comparing and ignoring them. And ignoring them is really like it's my main focus here. It's like ignoring, yeah, I can't be dealing with that. Incidentally, I didn't have a lot of time to prepare this, but from what I did manage to dig up from the literature, there is a real scarcity of literature looking at shame from a boy specific point of view, which is a bit interesting. It's not a good start, but we can glean insights from the broader literature as well, which is what I'm doing. So humiliation and shaming, first and foremost, instills fear in children. Shaming does not discourage undesirable behaviors. Rather, it simply tells boys and all children. It simply tells them that they are bad and that they are not enough. Furthermore, it denies them valuable opportunities to develop crucial skills like emotional regulation, and much worse potentially, which I will come to. Overall, the poor outcomes associated with childhood shame, shame as a punitive measure, have the potential to obstruct secure adult relationships and incur personal and indeed interpersonal I'm so sorry, I'm so nervous right now. Interpersonal maladaptation. I'm sorry, I'm really crapping myself right now. Shame has been implicated in the development of mental health problems, including depression and suicidal tendencies. So it's also associated with poor self-esteem, feeling unworthy, and a reluctance to express themselves. It isolates them, sort of mirroring a loose quote that was given earlier on from an African proverb, that a child who does not feel the love from the village will set it on fire to feel its warmth. Childhood victims of forms of psychological maltreatment, including shame, is linked to adult anger in men, specifically men. This is why it's so important. It's less so in women, so there is a gender difference here. Empirical evidence notes the strong relationship between childhood maltreatment and violence and sexual offending in later life among male juvenile offenders. As such, the development of delinquency can be explained from the perspective of emotion regulation, like affect dysregulation, emotional numbing, emotion recognition, and emotional intelligence. Further to violence and aggression, shame positively correlates with difficulties associated with irritability and impulsivity, like addictions and disordered eating. I think addictions was touched upon earlier on. Cognitively, children who are experiencing shame sort of on a persistent level, they demonstrate reduced risk recognition and response, which may explain offender recidivism. Thus, antisocial behaviour can be viewed as a coping strategy It's maladaptive behavior. That's it. They're just reaching out. So as such, shaming becomes cyclical and intergenerational. Shame is a punitive measure, which leads to more challenging behaviors, dysregulation, and potentially psychological damage. These children may become defensive and or dissociative, and these outcomes constitute an impediment to regulation, like learning healthy coping and how to comfort and self-soothe themselves. And these are key to the management of anger, aggression, and overall emotional liability. So parents are crucial for children's emotional competence, but so is the wider community, and we have a responsibility to do that. Without models of regulated and validated emotional expression, children can fall behind in all domains of their lives, and this is especially true of boys. Without these positive inputs, these valuable opportunities to learn how to self-regulate, messages of shame become internalized and they persist. And again, that's just sort of lending itself to the intergenerational difficulties that we often see. Boys need their fathers, so we must strive to nurture boys in the community. The research bed supports that adolescent boys are able to break the cycle, though, if given the right input and the opportunity, of course. This is why, sorry, this is why I believe so much in the visions and works of the likes of all of you here today. It is notable and it's noble and it's completely worthwhile, and it has complete transformative potential. Research like by Enid and colleagues highlights the importance of sound, uncompromised father-son relationships, whether actual or compensatory. It is those that are compromised and strained where boys suffer the most in terms of behavioural and emotional problems. Again, this reiterates the intergenerational curse. We need to help young men reach their potential. A study by Langer is another one that shows that adolescent men are not necessarily lost. They can be reached. In exploring the attitudes of young men with respect to absent or compromised fathers, the positive impact of input was highlighted, including better self-awareness and reduced impulsivity. And I don't want to offend anyone here. I've heard, stories of people who are fathers who have lost their children, and many who are probably very, very concerned about their kids going forward. So, and I'm not a parent myself. I can only imagine the fear and the worries that you all have. So please bear with me. But I hope the overview of the negative psychological consequences of shame has served as a cautionary tale. You know that already. But I hope it adds somewhat to the already burgeoning case for advocating for boys and young men. Without guidance, and indeed with shame, if shame persists rather, they can be broken and they can be lost. And that's broadly contributing to the erosion of families and communities, and instead contributing factors which maintain myriad problems. Just to think that maybe with a commitment to showing more love and more empathy and more time, and by abandoning shame, because it's just fucking useless, maybe then we can start to see a profound and meaningful transformation of boys into men in our communities. Sorry, but thank you.